Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor episode number 228 based on novel. So let's start. Evil pharmacist. Qing Wen's voice was like thunder, and it exploded in Xiao Yang's heart. What is an evil pharmacist? Xiao Yang couldn't help asking while looking at the skeleton in front of him. In the sunken space in front of them, at the bottom, a skeleton sitting on a silver seat was in sight of the three. Moreover, among the three, Xiao Yang, who has the most powerful soul power, is Shen, his eyes fixed on him, and a trace of unease emerges. The so-called evil pharmacist is similar to the refining pharmacist. But they are a branch other than pharmacists, because they are not refining magic pills, but all kinds of harmful pills of hatred. It turned out to be the evil medicine master's pill palace. No wonder I saw some pill bottles outside. They were all empty, as if someone had stepped in first. Chinga shook her head. Could it be that the puppets of the 10 doan emperor peaks who were turned into ashes were turned into puppets and became part of the guarding of the pill palace because they ingested these pills by mistake? Xiao Yang couldn't help being shocked. If Xiao Yang's guess is correct, I am afraid that the corpse of the evil pharmacist in front of him is extremely terrifying. Even though the evil pharmacist is disgusting, this guy has fallen, so don't worry too much. Seeing that her eldest brother and Xiao Yang both looked heavy, Chinga couldn't help laughing. Chinga, you don't know, the evil pharmacist's methods are extremely vicious, and you can see that this guy can have such a huge alchemy hall after his death, and his status must not be low. So I guess, even if this guy has fallen, I'm afraid there is still a lot of danger in this alchemy hall. Qing Wen said, looking at the skeleton below with a solemn expression. There seems to be something on this guy's body. After Xiao Yang heard Yang Qing's words, he slowly opened his mouth and couldn't help saying. Because at this time, under Xiao Yang's high concentration, the skeleton's corpse was trembling faintly. Could it be that this guy didn't die? Qing Wen seemed to have noticed this scene and couldn't help exclaiming. Impossible. Although this guy's corpse exudes a huge aura, but if you carefully sense it, it is the aura of death. How could a dead person be resurrected out of thin air? Xiao Yang shook his head and said. What's the reason for that? Qing Wen was quite puzzled when he heard this. Obviously, he had never seen such a situation in his life. Let's take one step at a time. I'll give it a try. Xiao Yang finished speaking, and the bright blue-yellow flames were projected directly at him, and immediately above the skeleton body in the silver seat, a thick white mist was scorched by Xiao Yang's flames. Baked and turned into powder. There should be no problem now. After doing all this, Xiao Yang said with satisfaction after he glanced around 3 times and there was no movement. Go down and have a look. There is no treasure in the pill palace, I'm afraid the secret is still with this guy. Xiao Yang looked around and said immediately, let's go. Seeing this, Qing Wen showed a rare smile. It was obvious that Xiao Yang had been helping them since entering the Ghost King Ridge. The 3 of them didn't hesitate at all, their footsteps slowly lifted, and then they stepped on the steps and walked towards the bottom. 10 sets. There is no movement. 15 sets. There is no movement. 20. However, when the 3 of them set foot on the 20th station, the next step is to set foot in the tens of meters of space where the skeleton is, and the mutation suddenly occurs. Squeak. With a sound, a milky white breath slowly emerged from the mouth and nose of the skeleton that was close at hand, and then the skeleton gently stood up from the silver seat like a living person. Damn it. When Xiao Yang saw this scene, he couldn't help but feel numb in his scalp, and a shock burst out. The corpse in front of them, to put it bluntly, is a pile of human beings built from the bones, without any flesh and blood, but at this time it actually stood up alive. This bastard. Seeing this, Qing Wen suddenly exuded the power of life and death. He knew very well that the aura emanating from the corpse was definitely not something the 3 of them could deal with. The vitality of both of them. Retreat. Xiao Yang shouted loudly when he saw the skeleton standing up, and then quickly retreated with the 2 of them. Sen Baigu stood on the silver seat, and then his head turned directly to face Xiao Yang and the others. But what makes Xiao Yang strange is that these white bones have no flesh and blood, no eyes. How do they identify their positions, and how do they emit aura? Boom boom boom. Skeleton ignored the 3721, the white bone hand gently lifted, and swung it towards Xiao Yang below. An incomparably huge and tyrannical training shot blasted away at Xiao Yang. Bang bang bang. Seeing this, Xiao Yang didn't dare to be sloppy. He made a promise with his palm, and took off the ancient ruler of eternal fire from behind, and attacked heavily with the skeleton's attack. This guy, what a tyrannical attack. I am afraid that my strength during his lifetime reached the 2-star doan, and the current strength is probably close to the 1-star doan consummation. Now it's troublesome. Xiao Yan was attacked by the tyrannical training and retreated 6 or 7 steps. Strength stabilized the figure. Brother Qing, follow me to break his seat. At the next moment, a bold idea slowly emerged in Xiao Yang's heart. Since the fighting immortal puppet just now is this guy's proud work, will the silver armor used by the fighting fairy skeletons enough to absorb other people's attacks and the silver seat the skeletons sit on now have the same effect? Okay. Qing Wen didn't dare to hesitate, otherwise the only thing waiting for them would be death. Susu. The bones stood on the silver seat and let out gloomy laughter, followed by tyrannical fluctuations that kept attacking the 3 of them. 7th layer breaking the sky ruler. Hand of sunny sky. The next moment Xiao Yang and Qing Wen's attack directly flashed past the skeleton's attack, and the attack landed on the silver seat. Boom boom boom. Even in the face of the tyrannical attacks from Xiao Yang and Qing Wen, the silver seat remained motionless. No movement. Seeing this, Xiao Yang frowned while continuously pumping strength. If this silver seat is not the life point of the distance, I am afraid that this time, I can only retreat first. Xiao Yang is currently not sure that he can defeat a powerhouse whose strength is close to the perfection of the 1-star doan unless he uses the 3 holy flames. In between, just a small level, the strength is like a world of difference. Little guy, increase your strength. Inject the power of holy flame. Just as Xiao Yang was about to withdraw, the voice of the Soul Eater slowly emerged. After being said by Soul Eater, Xiao Yang didn't have any worries. He directly increased the power of his body and attacked the silver seat. The silver seat that was originally motionless, but after Xiao Yang delivered the source of holy flame, made bursts of restless sounds, and then after a while, a few bang 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 explosion. This skeleton is actually dead. Seeing Xiao Yang's move, Chinga Meimu couldn't help but muttered. That's 3 treasure chests. Just after smashing the silver seat, the skeleton seemed to have lost its vitality. The treasure chest of, reflected in Xiao Yang's eyes. Fortunately, the crisis has been resolved. Seeing the skeleton below lose all vitality and stay motionless, Qing Wen couldn't help breathing a sigh of relief, but he didn't notice that next to the skeleton, because the silver just now the explosion caused by the destruction of the seat by Xiao Yang turned out to have blown a gap in the entire ground, and under the gap, 3 golden treasure chests stood slowly. Xiao Yang, brother, are you all alright? Seeing this, Chinga couldn't help but ran over and asked the 2 of them. It's fine, but there seems to be something underneath. Xiao Yang got up and pointed his finger at the gap below. Xiao Yang was also shaken back by the explosion caused by the silver seat just now. Although he found the 3 treasure chests in the gap, he did not rush to do it. Who knows if this evil pharmacist has any shady methods? 3 treasure chests. When Xiao Yang pointed this out, Chinga and Qingwen couldn't help but look at each other. Go down and have a look. The next moment, the 2 of them had a plan. Let's go. Xiao Yang naturally followed closely behind. What a deep space. As soon as he came to this level ground, Qingwen couldn't help but say. The ground on which the 3 of them stood, and the gap caused by the explosion had a depth of 10 meters. If the explosion wasn't strong enough, I'm afraid they would not be able to find these 3 treasure chests in their entire lives. 3 treasure chests, exactly 1 for each person. But it's better to open it first to see what it belongs to. After all, what is useful to you is the real treasure. Qing Wen said with a grin. Agreed. Xiao Yang nodded as well. After all, the isolation of these 3 golden treasure chests was too serious. Even if Xiao Yang's soul power was about to reach the Fairyland, he couldn't find any clues. Then I'll open it. Qing Wen heard the words, smiled slightly, and wrapped a dazzling power of life and death on her palm, heading towards the treasure chest on the far right. Bang bang bang. Qing Wen's palm just touched the golden treasure chest, and suddenly a series of metal friction sounds slowly sounded. Damn, you can't open it. After struggling for a while, Qing Wen said with a bit of grief and depression. These treasure chests seem to have shackles. And Xiao Yang's keen soul power also found something and hurried forward. Shackles? How is that possible? When Qing Wen heard the words, he naturally couldn't believe it. Look, it's here. Xiao Yang came to Qing Wen, and then his fingers slowly pointed to the middle of the treasure chest, pointing to a rather small gap. It's so small. When Qing Wen saw this, he nodded lightly, but he didn't expect the shackles to be behind his back. Obviously he didn't realize it just now. This kind of treasure chest is extremely sealed. If there is no key, I'm afraid it cannot be opened. Xiao Yang observed it carefully, and then said, "Then what if it is forcibly opened?" Qingwen asked, seemingly unwilling to give up. "If it is forcibly opened, I'm afraid it will only be damaged along with the treasure inside." Xiao Yang shook his head helplessly. "Hey! Xiao Yang, brother, come and see, it's so strange behind this skeleton." Just when Xiao Yang and Qingwen were at a loss, Chinga's voice slowly sounded. "Chinga, what's the matter?" Xiao Yang and Qingwen looked at each other, and then temporarily put down the exploration of the treasure chest and went to the location of the skeleton and Chinga. "Brother, Xiao Yang, look." At this moment, Chinga squatted down slightly, staring at the skeleton's corpse intently. Seeing Xiao Yang and the two of them coming over, she hurriedly stretched out her fingers slightly, facing a certain part of the skeleton. "Point to. This is." When Xiao Yang was pointed at by Chinga, Xiao Yang couldn't help exclaiming. Because what Chinga pointed at was the spine of the skeleton. At this time, the spine of the skeleton seems to be different from before. Because at this time, there are 3 spines above the bones of the skeleton, which are incompatible with the others. On the 3 spines are densely covered with some fine lines. The lines are quite complicated, even Xiao Yang, who is a fighting formation master, do not know. This spine seems to be a bit like the shackles of the treasure chest. After a while, Xiao Yang suddenly said, "What?" When Qingwen heard the words, he immediately read it seriously. After repeated confirmation, he finally agreed with Xiao Yang's words. Could it be that the vertebrae on this skeleton are the keys to the treasure chest? Looking at Xiao Yang and Qingwen's uncertain expressions, Chinga said softly, "Chinga, you really made a great contribution." Xiao Yang said with a smile, "Take one first and try." The next moment, Xiao Yang didn't hesitate, he stretched out his palm and walked towards the skeleton's spine. Crack! With a sound, the sound of bones breaking slowly sounded, and immediately above Xiao Yang's palm, there was an extra vertebra with fine lines. Is she human or horse? The Wild Story of Ayla Christine. The spine is about the size of a finger, and the whole exudes a terrifying aura. I am afraid that the energy contained in such a small spine can easily obliterate a strong doan. Let's try it first. Xiao Yang said just after the vertebra was removed, and there was no change in the skeleton and the pill hall. Yes. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he slowly walked towards the 3 treasure chests. I don't know if it will work or not. From right to left. Xiao Yang said softly. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Yang immediately raised his palm and pointed the spine at the keyhole of the treasure chest on the far right. The sound of metal collision echoed in the pill hall, stinging the 2 of them. It's the right size, but it can't be turned if it's inserted. Xiao Yang said helplessly, pulling out his vertebrae. Try this one in the middle. Hearing Xiao Yang's voice, it was obvious that this vertebra was the key to the treasure chest. As for the treasure chest on the far right, the key was not found. After all, the 3 vertebrae and the 3 treasure chests had to correspond one by one. Yes. Xiao Yang heard the words and slowly walked towards the treasure chest in the middle. Crack. Like the one just now, Zaidu gently inserted it, and then turned, but this time, it did not encounter any resistance, but was opened by Xiao Yang extremely lightly. Opened. What kind of treasure? As soon as the treasure box was opened, the entire space was filled with a strong aura of life, which made people's eyes light up. How could it be? It's actually Tianmu. Xiao Yang gently pushed open the lid of the treasure chest and couldn't help but let out a roar. What appeared in front of Xiao Yang was a piece of paper like a piece of wood, only the size of his own arm, but the whole body exuded green light, and a trace of rich life force continued to emerge. At the same time, in the deepest part of Xiao Yang's body, because he is an alchemist, a trace of wood attributes mixed with fire attributes, but like bamboo shoots after a rain, a strong desire erupted. Tianmu. After hearing Xiao Yang's words, Chinga and Qingwen looked at each other. Obviously they had never heard of this thing, but they could feel the extremely strong life force flowing out of the treasure chest. This thing is an extraordinary item. I originally thought that I was separated from Qingyo Tianmu, but I'm afraid I will go back and ask for Tianmu. After all, Tianmu is in his body, and I never imagined that he would meet Tianmu here. At this time, Xiao Yang's eyes were shining brightly, and he couldn't bear it. Live smiling. In the cultivation of vindictiveness, almost everyone has only one attribute. Even if there are special human beings who have multiple attributes, they understand the truth that greed is not enough, so they have created a monotony that has been an attribute since ancient times. Xiao Yang has self-confidence. With the holy flame, he does not need to think about the problems of fire attribute cultivation in the future. On the contrary, If he can completely awaken the wood attribute, then the fire and wood will be two-pronged. And the current Tianmu is the best primer to awaken the wood attribute in Xiao Yang's body. This thing seems to be related to brother Xiao Yang, so let's not take it. Seeing Xiao Yang's crazy expression, Qing Wen smiled slowly. Hey, brother Qing, this thing is extremely important to me, and I can't say no to it. I'll find any treasures in the future, it's all up to you. Xiao Yang carefully confirmed this day and then turned to Qing. The clerk laughed. Ha ha ha, brother Xiao Yang, what are you talking about, you are polite. Qing Wen also laughed, but he was quite satisfied with Xiao Yang's actions. Not to mention the corpse pill that was enough to advance to doan, but now he has taken away this precious thing. Many of the benefits in the pill palace have been taken away by him. Qing Wen is also afraid that Xiao Yang is a white-eyed wolf, but Xiao Yang is so after the guarantee, it is also relieved. Shabu shabu. Xiao Yang carefully closed the treasure chest, and immediately put it into his own ring. In that case, let's take a look at this second treasure chest first. Seeing Xiao Yang's actions, Qing Wen smiled. Okay. Xiao Yang heard the words, Zai Du Yu went to take the remaining 2 vertebrae, and slowly came to the 2 treasure chests. I hope there are some good things. Qing Wen couldn't help but muttered. He was also afraid that there were no treasures in these 2 treasure chests. Wouldn't it be a waste of time? Be vigilant, I'm about to open it. Xiao Yang said in a deep voice to the 2 of them, and then a spine in his palm slowly inserted into the shackles of the treasure chest. Crack. With a sound, the treasure chest closest to Xiao Yang was gently opened. What is it? The treasure chest was just opened, and there was no overflow of breath or power, and the entire pill hall was quite calm. This is a scroll. Xiao Yang looked away and projected it into the treasure chest. What appeared in Xiao Yang's pupils at this time was a jade-colored scroll that looked extremely ordinary, without any writing. The gold and silver were clear and quite mysterious. This is a good thing. Seeing this, the originally quiet Soul Eater couldn't help roaring. Senior, is this? Although Xiao Yang guessed that this thing might be a bit secret, he didn't expect that even the Soul Eater could be alarmed. This is a roll of ice-based exercises. The Soul Eater said lightly. Ice-type exercises? Xiao Yang couldn't help but wonder. After the strength reaches the doan, many things in the practice and fighting skills will be completely divided. It's like you are a fire attribute, you can only practice fire attribute exercises or fighting skills. The Soul Eater said lightly. Then I can't practice it if it's a thunder attribute kung fu fighting skill? Xiao Yang was shocked. It's not impossible. It's just that after you advance to doan, the power of doan in your body will give birth to attributes. If you practice fighting skills with the same attributes as your own, the power will be greatly increased, but if you cultivate other types, the power will be weakened by a few. 10 times. The Soul Eater said. There is such a hidden feeling. Xiao Yang slowly shook his head when he heard the words. It seems that after being promoted to Do Immortal, both the cultivation technique and the fighting skills have been subject to rather tyrannical restrictions. When Xiao Yang was puzzled, Chinga on the side walked slowly to the treasure chest, raised her jade hand slightly, and walked towards the jade-colored scroll. Be careful. Seeing this, Xiao Yang didn't know what Chinga was doing, but for his intuition, he still said something. Cici. After a while, Chinga's jade hand slowly touched the mysterious scroll, and then circles of white mist spread out from the mysterious scroll in an instant. Ice attribute grudge. When Xiao Yang saw this, he couldn't help being shocked. Hehe, brother Xiao Yang, don't need to panic, this is just some means of the sister. When Qing Wen saw this scene, he also explained. It's actually of the ice attribute. I'm afraid there is something in this girl's body. Seeing this, the Soul Eater said slightly. The ice attribute on Chinga's body actually makes me feel a chill. This. Xiao Yang could not help exclaiming when he saw that Chinga and the mysterious scroll were both emitting white mist, standing next to the treasure chest. She should have an extremely cold body, so her ice-type fighting chi is naturally stronger than ordinary people. Although this kind of extremely cold body is not too rare, if it is done, it will not be easy to eat the pain of the cold, but in return, I am afraid that there is no one with the ice attribute powerhouse at the same level. Can beat her. Soul Eater explained Yen. Xiao Yang softly agreed. This, the scroll, I want it. There were bursts of discomfort on Chinga's pretty face, and then she said with her beautiful eyes moving. Are you alright? Qing Wen heard the words, walked over slightly to support Chinga, and asked. Brother, I'm fine. This scroll is also of the ice attribute, and it should be of great help to my physique. Chinga's breath was a little weak, and she closed her hands and said to Qing Wen, "It's fine. If this scroll can weaken your physical problems, then this trip will not be in vain." Qing Wen said with a smile, "Take it." Seeing this, Xiao Yan used his fighting spirit to slowly wrap the mysterious scroll and send it to Chinga. "The cold in my body has been aroused by it. I have to go to retreat, otherwise the cold will strike." Chinga did not hesitate. Her little hand tightly gripped the mysterious scroll, and said with a serious face, "Go. This alchemy hall has a huge range, you just need to find a good place to retreat. We are also preparing to break through this last treasure chest." Qing Wen said, "Yes." Chinga nodded lightly, then exited to find a place to retreat. Next, there is the last treasure chest. And watching Chinga leave, Xiao Yang and Qing Wen's eyes were both directed at the last treasure chest, especially Qing Wen, whose pupils were full of scorching heat. "Brother Qing, come on." Xiao Yang looked at Qing Wen, who looked a little wary, and said with a smile, "He and Chinga have already got the treasure. If there is no treasure in this last treasure box, it will probably cause a big blow to Qing Wen." So Xiao Yang looked at Qing Wen and said, "Okay." When Qing Wen heard the words, he smiled lightly. He naturally knew that Xiao Yang sensed his concerns before he spoke. It wasn't that the last treasure chest was dangerous and wanted him to take the lead. "I hope there is something." Qing Wen took the last vertebra in Xiao Yang's palm and smiled slowly. "Open it." Xiao Yang said softly, "Yes." Qing Wen agreed, and then without hesitation, her spine was inserted into the shackles of the treasure box without a trace. Crack. With a slight turn of Qing Wen's palm, the treasure chest was slowly opened. Boom boom boom. The closed treasure chest was just opened a little, and a dazzling red light suddenly emerged. What an evil red light. And Xiao Yang only felt the contents of this last treasure box for a moment. "I'm afraid it's not easy." What a terrifying coercion. Qing Wen was under the powerful coercion, and the dazzling power of life and death slowly blended, which was quite uncomfortable. Bang bang bang. With the sound of a few breaths, all the treasure chests were opened, and then Qing Wen's figure was also rushed back a few meters away by a tyrannical impact. Xiao Yang was also not feeling well. Although he had already defended himself, he was still pushed back a few meters by the red light emanating from the treasure chest. What is this? As soon as Qing Wen stabilized her figure, she cast her gaze on the last treasure chest. Slowly looking at it, standing in the treasure box at this time, it is a jade bottle with a very delicate texture. The jade bottle is depicted with a dragon and a phoenix, which is quite atmospheric, and in the jade bottle, there is a dragon eye size. The elixir stood quietly. The elixir was dark red, while the jade bottle was emitting a faint cyan color. As for the dragon and phoenix jade bottle, there was a large area of red light surrounding it, which was like the power of evil, and it was extremely desolate like a dead aura. "It's actually an elixir." Seeing this, Qing Wen frowned and said, "This medicine pill seems to be different." Xiao Yang stared at the medicine pill, but shook his head slowly. "Soul power, come out." The next moment, Xiao Yang's huge soul power gathered directly towards the pill, trying to use his soul power to find out the true face of this thing. When Xiao Yang's soul power just touched the dragon and phoenix jade bottle, a loud sound of dragon and phoenix twinkling came out from the treasure chest. "Not good. Protect your mind." Xiao Yang cursed loudly, and then said to Qing Wen, "Boom boom boom." The loud and clear voice of the dragon and the phoenix slowly reverberated throughout the entire pill hall, like ripples of destruction, constantly emitting. "Who, this guy?" After a few breaths, the sound of the dragon and phoenix chirping slowly dissipated. "It's just some miscellaneous sounds of dragons and phoenixes." Seeing this, Soul Eater said lightly. Xiao Yang was dumbfounded when he heard the words. Even if it was a dragon and a phoenix, it was an extremely powerful pressure for the current self. This should be the work of the evil pharmacist, right? Xiao Yang ran out of means for a while, just walked over gently, and carefully looked at the dark red medicinal pill and said, "This thing, I." And Qing Wen, who was beside him, seemed to remember something, but he couldn't be sure for a while, and said intermittently, "I don't know what this medicinal pill does, but it comes from the evil pharmacist's hand, so I'm afraid I can't use the medicinal power of ordinary medicinal pills as an inference." Xiao Yang shook his head. Obviously, no matter what, he could not see what the dark red medicinal pill could do. Mystery. Xiao Yang was also a little helpless. Once he used his vindictive energy or soul power, the dragon and phoenix jade bottle would immediately send out extremely powerful pressure. I remembered, this seems to be the proud work of the evil pharmacist. At the next moment, Qing Wen's voice was full of excitement. "Brother Qing, What is this thing? Xiao Yang heard the words and cast his eyes towards Qing Wen, and found that Qing Wen was exuding a frenzy of madness. This is the mad magic pill. Qing Wen's pupils were filled with a hint of fiery, and he opened his mouth slightly. Crazy demon pill? Xiao Yang shook his head slightly when he heard the words. Obviously he had never heard of this kind of pill, but according to Xiao Yang's guess, I am afraid that the medicinal power of this pill could not be inferred by common sense. Yes, it's the mad magic pill. As for its efficacy, it can increase the strength of the user in a short period of time. Qing Wen said with a smile. Increase strength in a short period of time? Xiao Yang asked rather strangely after hearing this. After reaching Do Di, basically no one uses the secret method to improve strength, let alone doan strong. Because they all know that improving the secret method is too heavy for their own. If they accidentally lose the source, I am afraid that the gain will outweigh the loss for life, so not many people in the ranks of the secret method and the fighting gods will use it. Haha, brother Xiao Yang, you don't know something. There are rumors about this evil pharmacist in our Ghost King city. And this mad magic pill is his proud work. To tell you the truth, the effect of this mad magic pill is under the 3-star fighting spirit. After taking it, there will be an hour's increase in strength, and the degree of improvement is even more staggering. It can raise a whole major rank. If your 2-star doan is consummated, after taking it, you will have an hour's 3-star doan consummation power. And the best effect of the mad magic pill is that it will not affect the source. Although you will fall into weakness for a month after taking it, it will not affect your cultivation path. It made countless people jealous. Qing Wen said slowly, his voice full of heat. It turns out that there is such an effect. Xiao Yang heard that, but he was quite looking forward to it. Brother Xiao Yang, this medicinal pill is very valuable, but I must get it. After all, in our Ghost King city, the relationship between our Qing family and the Yu family has reached an extremely dangerous level. With this pill, our Qing family can protect ourselves. The next moment, Qing Wen's pupils showed a very sincere look. Breath. Brother Qing can take this medicinal pill and take it. Xiao Yang also said with a slight smile. He had already obtained enough things. Although Xiao Yang, the mad demon pill, was also quite tempted, he could only give up his love. Then the document means that the entire Qing family would like to thank Brother Xiao Yang. If Brother Xiao Yang doesn't dislike it, you can go back to Ghost King City with me after you break through to the immortal battle. It just so happens that a large auction is about to be held in Ghost King City. Qing Wen gently put away the mad devil pill and said immediately, "All right." Xiao Yang heard the words and slowly agreed. He naturally knew that Qing Wen's words meant something to win over him, but when he first came to the ramp, he also provoked the Yu family. He went to Qing's house. Also a good choice. The next step is to absorb the corpse pill and break through the Emperor Do. Qing Wen smiled slowly after hearing this. The next step is to devour the corpse pill and advance to Do Di. Qing Wen's laughter slowly echoed in the entire pill hall. Brother Qing, please. When Xiao Yang heard the words, he naturally laughed together. Since the 3 treasure chests have already been obtained, it would be of little use to stay here. Go out first. After Qing Wen finished speaking, he left the sunken ground and returned to the pill hall. Chinga has already started. The two of them had just left the sunken ground, and immediately looked at the wall to the side. Circles of white mist covered Chinga's body, but a tyrannical aura emerged. Brother Xiao Yang, breaking through doan is by no means a child's play, but I believe you will succeed. After Qing Wen finished speaking, he went straight to the rear, obviously planning to break through Do Di. Well, let me start too. The Do Chi in the Do Chi Sea has already been compressed by the flame beasts ahead of time. Next, I just need to swallow the corpse pill to obtain the huge power, so as to condense the Do core. Crossing the immortal tribulation. It's the real breakthrough Do Di, turned into doan. Xiao Yang muttered. It's right here. Xiao Yang walked around, deliberately choosing a place not far from Qing Wen and Chinga, and then sat cross-legged directly. Fire. Soul power. Just after choosing a place, Xiao Yang suddenly shouted. The dazzling flame power and soul power formed 2 extremely huge enchantments around Xiao Yang, wrapping Xiao Yang in them. With the dual isolation barrier of holy flame power and soul power, you should be able to break through with confidence. Xiao Yang said with a smile. Xiao Yang had no choice. After all, when breaking through, he would definitely use holy flame power, so for the sake of be careful, still do it like this. After all, Sheng Yang's attractiveness is no small matter. Xiao Yang doesn't want to expose it easily. Battle Chi Group. Corpse pill. Xiao Yang shouted, and just after the voice fell, the fist-sized dough chi mass compressed by the flame beast appeared directly in front of Xiao Yang, and the corpse pill that contained enough Xiao Yang to break through the dough emperor also appeared. A dohe is something that has a sea of dough chi. Even though my current dough chi sea is empty. Xiao Yang muttered. Boy, don't do it. In your battle chi sea, there are not only flaming beasts, but also the source power of 2 holy flame crystals, and even the battle spirit. The Soul Eater said. Fighting soul? If it wasn't for what you said, Senior, I'm afraid I forgot. If I devoured the fighting spirit after being promoted to dough immortal, I'm afraid I can reach the late stage of 1-star dough immortal or even complete. Xiao Yang couldn't help but burst into ecstasy. Boy, you can't chew too much. Because of the power of holy flame, you went from the 7-star dough emperor to the 1-turn 9-star dough emperor, and then directly to the peak of the dough emperor, so I don't recommend that you break through the dough's yarn by devouring the dough soul. Your power has an ethereal feeling. After breaking through dough's yarn, you should stabilize first and then devour dough soul, otherwise it will have a big impact on your future. And the power of your fighting spirit should not be underestimated. According to my guess, when you cultivate to the middle stage of 1-star fighting immortal, you can devour it. After swallowing, it is enough to completely advance to 2-star fighting immortal. The Lord of Soul Eater said. Senior's words are true, but I'm too impatient. Xiao Yang also suppressed some of the thoughts in his heart when he heard the words. Obviously, Soul Eater's analysis was right. Now that you are ready, let's start. I can't help you on your way to the road to fighting immortals. You still have to rely on you to carry it all over. The Soul Eater said lightly. En. Hearing this, Xiao Yang nodded immediately, then waved it casually, and the corpse pill containing huge energy suddenly came into his hands. This guy is really perverted. 3 holy flames, fighting spirit, and wood genus Xing. If I meet some old guys later, I can say that Xiao Yang is my disciple. I always feel that this kid's achievements in the future will not be low. No, I have to take advantage of this guy's growth and teach him to be my disciple. After my Soul Eater will also have a lot of face. Hey. The Lord of Souls said in a slow and deep voice in the bottom of his heart. Let's get started. Xiao Yang said in a deep voice, and then without hesitation, a bluish-yellow holy flame suddenly emerged from the palm of his hand, wrapping it around the corpse pill. The power of the holy flame is so powerful, it just burned to the corpse pill, and a thick smoke burst out from the corpse pill, as if it had encountered an incomparably powerful enemy. This thick smoke is a good thing, don't waste it. Seeing this, Xiao Yang took a breath, and the thick smoke was immediately absorbed into Xiao Yang's body. At that time, the black and white life and death power in Xiao Yang's body slowly became the whole body. Bright up, constantly squirming, constantly blending. This little power is not enough. The next moment, Xiao Yang felt that the power contained in the thick smoke just made the power of life and death in his body blend a little, and then he spoke. Reaching the peak of Do D, the power of life and death of black and white is close to a perfect blend, but if you want to break through Do D, this level is not enough. You must blend the force of life and death perfectly, so as to give birth to the power of Do's yarn that belongs to you. Only then can it be called a real fighting immortal. Gulu. Not long after, seeing that some of the dust on the outermost layer of the corpse pill had fallen off, Xiao Yang also swallowed it regardless of the 3721. Boom. As soon as he swallowed the corpse pill, a force of tyrannical force emerged from the corpse pill slowly, and then flowed towards his body and limbs. The reason why Xiao Yang used the power of holy flame to burn the corpse pill was to filter the corpse qi and other impurities in the corpse pill, so as to consume the purest power. The smoke is the corpse gas of the corpse pill. Boom boom boom. The corpse pellet filtered by Xiao Yang had just poured into Xiao Yang's body, and a tyrannical force suddenly erupted, making Xiao Yang's body a little overwhelmed. The power of life and death, melt it for me. Seeing that all the limbs in his body were nearly saturated with the power of absorbing corpse pills, Xiao Yang also launched a final attack on the power of life and death. Just after he finished speaking, a scream came from Xiao Yang's mouth. Bang bang bang. The huge power contained in the corpse pill directly shook Xiao Yang's power of life and death violently. Is not very pleasant. At this time, Xiao Yang had to endure the continuous explosion generated by the fusion of the power of life and death and the impact of the huge energy of the corpse pill. His eyes were red, his teeth were clenched, and the pain was pouring into his face, and his expression was extraordinary. Serious. I am dignified, Emperor Yang. How can I be afraid that you will not be able to live and die? For Laro Tsu, let the horse come over. Xiao Yang said word by word, his voice filled with a rebellious aura that was fearless. Boom boom boom. Under the violent impact of the corpse pill, the power of life slowly merged, showing the transformation of black and white color into fiery red color. But in this space, with the power of black and white every time fusion, a tragic cry also emerged. This video will end here.